Yet again, welcome to the 15th Jaipur Literature Festival, protected by Dettol, Banega Swasth India. And we're back again at the front lawn on this rather wonderful afternoon, I would say. In this session, First Edition presents Soumitra Chatterjee, a filmmaker remembers. This is a book launch. Suman Ghosh in conversation with Balaji Vittal. Despite performances that mesmerized the world for close to 50 years, Soumitra Chatterjee won his first national award for Best Actor only in 2006 for the film Podokkhep, directed by Suman Ghosh. It marked the beginning of a professional relationship that resulted in some of the best films of the legendary actor's final phase and a personal bonding, whereby the veteran thespian went on to become a friend, philosopher, and guide to the young filmmaker. In Soumitra Chatterjee, a filmmaker remembers, Ghosh goes down memory lane to paint a remarkable portrait of his relationship with the actor. From the time he first met Chatterjee as an observer on the sets of Gautam Ghosh's Dekha, to creating remarkable cinematic moments in their lives, 5 films together. May we have the speakers on stage now, please. Suman Ghosh is a professor of economics at Florida Atlantic University. He did his BSc with a major in economics from Presidency College, Calcutta. After that, he obtained his master's degree in economics from the Delhi School of Economics before joining Cornell in 1996, where he did his PhD. Ghosh is a national award-winning filmmaker. He also directed the documentary on Amartya Sen titled The Argumentative Indian. We welcome Mr. Suman Ghosh. Mr. Balaji Vittal is a second-generation Calcuttan with his roots in the city dating back to the 1950s. He is the co-author of the national award-winning book, R.D. Burman, The Man, the Music, and the MAMI Award-winning book, Gaata Rahe Mera Dil, 50 classic Hindi film songs. His most recent book, Pure Evil, The Bad Men of Bollywood, is his first solo authored book. We welcome Mr. Balaji Vittal. May I request the audiovisual team to cue in the music for the book launch. And I also request our speakers and dignitaries for the session to please unveil the book for the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Soumitra Chatterjee, hello, a filmmaker remembers. Suman Ghosh in conversation with Balaji Vittal. Here we go.
A very nervous-looking father knocks at the door on Rojanation Road, and a young boy opens the door and says, "Hi, Ashun, Bosun." And he has come to meet someone in that house, and this young boy says, "Ektu boste hobe." Huh? 3.5 minutes. And then we see this person whose face still cannot be seen. He's doing his yoga exercises. And then finally finishes his yoga and comes out of the room and wears a bright shawl, and it's Soumitra Chatterjee, Feluda, Pradosh Mittir. That was the first time that I saw Pradosh Mittir, or better, Soumitra Chatterjee on screen. And it was a different experience. And that experience has stayed with me all these years. And I'm so glad that Suman has written this book on probably one of my first child idols. Suman, share with us, how did this book come about? I mean, how did you get the idea and how did you go about it? What are the obstacles you faced? And just tell us a little bit about the background.
So first of all, it's wonderful to be at the Jaipur Literary Festival. It's called the mother of all festivals. And this is my debut book. I am not a writer. I don't claim to be a writer.
Now you are.
But now I am accidental writer, I would say. So I never thought of writing a book on Soumitra Chatterjee ever, because he was with me in my last 15 years of my life, ever since I made the first film, which was said Podokkhep, for which got the national award for me also and for him also. But I have seen that this relationship morphed into much more than just a director and an actor. And I was slowly I realized that I've forgotten the fact that he is Soumitra Chatterjee, the one of India's greatest actors, and those kind of aura that initially he had with Satyajit Ray. I think he's done 14 films or something like that. Opu and Moyur Bahon and many other, in Charulata, and so many films he has done. And somehow I always thought, like we think about our parents, that they will always be there, and suddenly in 2020 during COVID, he was no more. And I just couldn't fathom just what happened. It was personally devastating for me, because not only as an actor, I wanted to do many other films with him, though he was 85 years old, I think, when he passed away. But he was active, agile, and mentally as sharp as and curious to the hilt. And not only as an actor, but always. I live abroad, so I used to call him regularly what books he's reading. He used to tell me ask me what books I'm reading. And we used to share jokes, moments, which I've tried to portray in the book also. So after he passed away, there was an enormous void in my life. And it was then that, the editor, Shantanu Roy Chaudhary of Home Books, approached me, because I occasionally or regularly write in the popular press, in Telegraph, Times of India, or Anandabajar Potrika in Bengali. Since I write articles, Shantanu asked me that whether I will be interested in writing a book on Soumitra Chatterjee. I took some time to decide, because I didn't know that whether I can write also, because it would have been an emotionally heart-wrenching thing to reimagine all those 15 years of moments. But then I thought that it might be a cathartic experience also, go through those memories. And after all, I should always look ahead. So then I decided that why not try this? And what I realized was that, it was indeed a cathartic experience, and why not celebrate the moments that I had with that man? And not just as an actor, I tried to portray him, as one of the last of the Renaissance men that I think, appears in, we had in our country. So, or we have in our country, because, so that was the germination of the book, Balaji, when I started writing about it.
Great. Soumitra broke into Uttam Kumar's citadel, which Uttam Kumar had been holding that #1 position from 1952 to 59 till Soumitra came in with Opu Sangsar. What was different that he was able to break into that Uttam Kumar stronghold of that undisputed #1 position, which even his other contemporaries like Choi Vishwas, Anil Chatterjee, and others could not do? What was the secret sauce behind that?
See, I think Soumitra Chatterjee at that time was a very refreshing, I would say, voice in inverted commas. He comes from a theater background. Shishir Bhaduri was his theater guru. And when Satyajit Ray was casting for Aparajito, the story is very famous that he called for Soumitra Chatterjee, and then he entered the room and Satyajit Ray said that you're too old for the role. And then Opu Sangsar was made, and then the history started. But I think what Soumitra, I'll refer to him as Soumitra Kaku, uncle, which I always do that in the book also. He was an aberration in the film world then as an actor, because he was not only an actor, he was a curious mind, lot of interest. And if you see his interactions with Satyajit Ray, he has written in a wonderful book called Master and I about his relationship with Satyajit Ray. And, one could sense that he just didn't want to be a star, like since you mentioned about Uttam Kumar. He wanted to explore life through acting. And as we discuss, I'll tell you that not only acting, through other forms also, he wanted to explore life and satisfy his curiosity towards life. And that's why he could do roles which does not fit into a star image then. I always give the example of this famous Tapan Sinha film called Jhinder Bondi, where Uttam Kumar and Soumitra was pitted, I think, for the first time. And Soumitra was the villain. Mayur Bahan is a villain in that film. A star wouldn't have done that during that time. Similarly, a wonderful film called Shat Pake Badha was Tapan Sinha, Ajay Kaur's wonderful film. It was Suchitra Sen's film, but Soumitra had worked in that film as a secondary character. So characters interested him rather than, stardom. And that has been throughout his life. So that would be one example.
Absolutely. Look at how he moved around, from a young widower in Opu Shongshar to a Mayur Bahan villain, and then trapped in a screwed up marriage in Shat Pake Badha, then the city gent, the handsome city gent in your Teen Bhuvaner Pare, the unemployed guy, and then again, with a shady past in your Orne Din Ratri. This not being allowed, or this not wanting to get typecast, was it a proactive career strategy by Chatterjee, or was it something that just happened? Because he had clearly seen it as a long haul. So was it a strategic thing, or did it just happen at that time?
See, to be honest, I may be biased, and I write in the book also, this is not an objective analysis of him. But I don't think he was strategic in anything in life. He would have played even negative characters, or, for example, older characters, which typically a star would not want to play. So that was never a strategy. He was just interested in portraying characters, and through those characters to delve into the lives of those persona, whether his role in Ashwini Sanket or Obhijan, and so much variety. And we are just talking about filmmakers of like Satyajit or Tapan Sinha status, but he has worked in wonderful commercial films also in very interesting roles. So so I don't think it was a strategy at all. Yeah.
The closest he came to Bombay was when he played that role in Obhijan of a Hindi speaking guy, but he never ventured into Bombay. Right. Unlike some of his other peers like Uttam Kumar or Shomit Bhanjo. What was the reason? Was the language was the issue, or was he not confident? Or what was the reason?
Yeah, I had asked him about Bombay because I don't think many people know that in Anand, the famous Hrishikesh Mukherjee film, Amitabh Bachchan's role was offered to Soumitra Chatterjee, which he didn't do because it clashed with one of Satyajit Ray's films he was shooting then. After that, in the early 80s, I think Shashi Kapoor had offered in either Kalyug or Junoon, I think Kalyug. He had offered Soumitra Chatterjee.
I think it is Junoon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, might be. So in Junoon, he was offered a role, and he did not accept Shashi Kapoor's. And Shashi Kapoor was a very good friend of him, but even then he did not. So I had asked him that, why didn't you? Because to a lot of actors, directors, or technicians, or Bombay is the next step. You be such a big hero in your original language, and then you go to Bombay and achieve stardom, like many others from other Kamal Hassan or Rajnikant had done, or Uttam Kumar had done Choti Si Mulaqat, which didn't work at all. And he, you only told me, or I heard that he had his first heart attack after the failure of Choti Si Mulaqat. So again, goes back to the strategic issue. For Soumitra Kaku, he wanted to be an actor, and it is independent. He didn't have an aspiration as such to go to Bombay and establish himself. Of course, he lamented later that in Bombay, people like Shyam Benegal and other very very fond directors were working. So he missed out on that, for sure. But in Bengal at that time, remember, not only Satyajit Ray, Mrinal Sen, Tapan Sinha, Ritik Ghatak, though he didn't work. So there was equal talent in Bengal. So he never fell. But also he said two things. One is that he was not very confident about the language, Hindi language. So unless he's very confident about the language, that will reflect in his acting. And he felt that that would be dishonesty to the craft of acting. So to learn Hindi he needed to give too much time, which he didn't have then. And also he said that Kolkata as a city was ingrained in him as to who he was. It defined Kolkata, defined. So to leave everything in Kolkata, and remember, he was regularly acting in theater also. So to leave Kolkata and go to Bombay and remove, those activities, like he was into poetry and theater, of course, Bengali films. So he said that I will lose one of my existence just to establish my career in Bombay. I never felt that urge to do that. So this was when I asked him, is there in my book also in more detail, this was his answer to why he didn't go to Bombay. Even he was regularly getting offers from top production houses in Bombay. Yeah.
Good that he didn't.
Yeah.
I think he remained the king of Bengal. Tell us about Podokkhep. How did it happen? And it has a historical significance in your life as well as Soumitra Kaku's life. Tell us about it.
I was in the early 2000s. I was observing in Gautam Ghosh's one of his famous films called Dekha. And it was on set that I met Soumitra Chatterjee there. And I formed a bonding with him. Initially, I was scared to just go and talk to him because he was I remember first when I saw him, it was quite unreal that, our Feluda and Opu and this person exists in reality. I just couldn't believe. And slowly our bonding happened. And then I thought of my first film, Podokkhep, and I wrote the screenplay and I sent it to him. And those days, emails and all were not prevalent. So, it was not quite prevalent as what it is now, or WhatsApp or whatever. So I remember I had sent it by post to his golf green bungalow in Kolkata. And then I called him after a month or so. And he said that I just loved the script and I would definitely, and he had some reservations. He expressed that, but he was on board. And you say that it is very significant. Of course, for my life, it was very significant because I always used to joke with him that riding on his shoulders, I started my film career. The film got the Best Bengali Film for that year and Best Actor National Award for Soumitra Chatterjee. And because it was his first national award, it got so much of attention. To him, it really didn't matter at that age, after performing for so many years in so many fantastic films. It is the travesty of the national awards, I would say, that he did not get a national award before that. But that started my journey of films and my relationship, or I say to everyone, my love story with Soumitra Kaku. So that was Podokkhep. Yeah.
I don't mean to bring tears into your eyes just now, but tell us the first day of the shoot, the first shot you're going to take.
Oh, I think I write that in the book also. I remember the first shot of Podokkhep was, those who know in Kolkata, there's a lake there in Southern Avenue where I was taking the first shot. He was there with Bibhas Chakraborty, another very big theater personality. And I was, of course, very nervous to say action for the first time in my life. And that too to Soumitra Chatterjee. So I remember just before I was going to start shoot, he said that one moment to my DOP. And we stopped. So he came up to me and, shook my hands and said that this is the first shot that you're taking in your life. Hopefully this will continue for many, many years from now on. So I just want to congratulate you for this journey. And I know what you have, I was then an assistant professor in the US. So he said, and this he's telling me, nobody can hear that. He took me to a corner and said, all the best. Hopefully the journey will continue. And that journey continued for 15 years with him after that.
He was a man of multiple talents. Like, tell us something about his other talents. Painting.
I think that he was a person, that's why I call Renaissance man, in the sense that he wanted to explore life in all its myriad variations and experience and everything. And he gives a wonderful, example, which is I write in my book also. So very short, in condensed form, let me tell you. So he told me once that in Krishnanagar, from where he comes from, in the, there's a river, and the boats are always, in the off season, the boats, the majis, the boatmen submerge their boats in the river when the water level is low, so that when the season comes, the boats are ready to ply. They don't become dry and, those things. So he said that to me, life is like that. I always want to get submerged, soaked in, and take all my experiences through reading, through poetry, through interactions with people, mixing with young people like you. He told me, I just want to soak in like the boats in the river, which he mentions. And that comes out in different forms later. We just know about his acting avatar, but little do people know that he's a wonderful painter. He's a wonderful writer. He has collections of his essays, poetry collections. He's a wonderful singer. I know that he sang for me one day in my shoots after Pack Up. He sang beautifully in front. So these are all expressions of life. Acting is one of them. So when people say that, he was such and that applies to a person like Rabindranath Tagore also, like Satyajit Ray also, like, Amartya Sen, or these are which I call Renaissance men, where they might be famous, Satyajit Ray as a filmmaker, but as a writer, if you think about it, as a, painter, not painter, but sketches and all, typesetting and everything. Satyajit Ray's contributions are much, of course, filmmaking is his main contribution. And similarly with Rabindranath Tagore, I don't have to say anything new about Rabindranath Tagore. And I see that same vein in Soumitra Kaku also. This myriad talent, which we call, just comes out of different expressions of, he used to call the season. When the boats are now in season, I have to be ready. I cannot be dried up. So I will soak up life and it will come out in different ways. And he didn't care if it was good, bad, or whatever it is. This is it, and that is who I am. So
you wrote in your book saying that when you write a script, you need to have someone in your mind to be able to do that. Did Satyajit Ray have to do the same thing? Because if you look at Jatayu and Feluda, the two primary characters, somehow I think he had Santosh Datta and Soumitra in mind when he wrote that, right? Because the initial version of Jatayu was very different, Ting Ting Eroga and all that. Then it made a slightly portly person to more look like Santosh Datta.
So even Feluda, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, initially Soumitra was not in his mind, no. But what I recollect is that after working with Soumitra, he realized that what he had drawn, the sketches of Feluda, somehow, morphed with Soumitra Chatterjee. I don't know which way the direction was, where his sketches might morph toward Soumitra Chatterjee, or Soumitra Chatterjee, fit into his sketches. But initially, I don't think he had Soumitra in mind when he was portraying Feluda. But, Feluda as a character, he's the quintessential Bengali intellectual, 6 feet tall, and very interestingly physical abilities of Feluda and those kind of things. So which matched exactly with Soumitra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was always a Calcutta guy. Even if he was out of Calcutta in Aurane Teen Rats, he used to carry that Calcutta with him. In Teen Bhuvan and Pare or any of these films. Somehow that I see the Calcutta thing in very much in him.
Right.
So I think that's why he preferred to stay back in Bengal.
Right.
There is something about the senior actors when they let go of their matinee idol, they somehow feel liberated, like Amitabh Bachchan doing roles the way he did in Ux, or those very dark roles. Same with Soumitra. He felt he didn't have to carry that hero image anymore, and hence he did films like Podokkhep or Peace Heaven or Dwando and all that.
So not just my films. If you think about it, last few years he has done a film like Moyurakhi, Borun Babur Bondhu, and many other, Bela Sheshe, which is a very big Bengali hit film.
Slightly earlier, Atonko.
Atonko was 80s, but I'm just saying, even if you see the last 10 years, the roles that, and interestingly, you mentioned Amitabh Bachchan. I remember in the Kolkata Film Festival once, Amitabh Bachchan was there, Soumitra Chatterjee was there. Of course, they know each other from, ages. And I used to tell someone that, look at Amitabh Bachchan now in the last 10 years. He's doing Piku, he's doing Pink and Black. Black again is much earlier. Last 10 years, I'm saying. And look, Soumitra Chatterjee. So these guys are almost 80 or above 80. And still their stardom in Bengali film industry for Soumitra Chatterjee, I would say Soumitra was still the biggest star in Bengal, dependable star in Bela Sheshe and many other films. Posto, another Shiva Prasad Nandita film. And also he's doing parallelly, Basu Poribar was my last film with him. He was doing such extra, big budget and, commercially popular films, as well as experimenting with P7 and, my other films. And Amitabh Bachchan also was the top of the game, is in Bollywood now. So he said that Amitabh Bachchan was joking with him on the stage that Soumitra da, he's called Soumitra da, hum log dono hi chala ja rahe, I don't know Hindi very well, but we are carrying on a journey. We are still, young at mind. So that's why, I'm also doing this. I hear about your films. He saw Bela Sheshe and was moved, and he tweeted about Bela Sheshe also. So Soumitra Kaku later told me after that evening that we were joking about the fact that we are Amitabh is now, I think, close to 80. Soumitra is 82, 83 when this happened. And still they were joking about the fact that they are ruling Bollywood and Bengali films respectively.
The greatest reality show that may have happened but did not. Do you want to share a small teaser, not a spoiler, a small teaser about it? Read more about it in the book, but
yeah, so there's an entire chapter on this episode. And to be honest, as I write in the book, I was not very sure whether I should write about this or not, because it might be interpreted otherwise, where nobody knew that Soumitra Chatterjee, I think 10 or 12 years back, suffered a heart attack for which he was admitted to a hospital, and he's, but he was there for one day or in the hospital, and then the doctors left him. And after I came and asked him that what happened, you were in the hospital, he said that, and even that he was saying excitedly, "Ami to morte cholechilam, I was going to die." I said, "What do you mean?" So he said that he had a heart attack and it was raining profusely in Calcutta that day. There was waterlogging all over, and he was alone in his bungalow. He had that heart, he could realize he had a heart attack, and he couldn't find the sorbitrate in his house. And he was looking all over for sorbitrate, and he realized that that's it. This is his last moment. Somehow, accidentally, last attempt he took, he called the nursing home, and the ambulance which was coming there, it got stuck in the water logging. So the ambulance was also not coming. So he thought that I'm gone now. And the last attempt, he said that, I don't know why, in the kitchen, I looked whether I can find the sorbitrate, and there the sorbitrate was in the kitchen. Maybe the maid took it there and kept it or something like that. So he had the sorbitrate, and after a while, the ambulance came. He was saved that day. Nobody knew about this, he told me. And then I was thinking that, if we just if suppose the sorbitrate was not there in the kitchen, how fragile life is that, after he dies, there would be furor all over Bengal for sure, in the world, because internationally, after he was dead, he passed away in 2020. Obituaries came in, Guardian, in New York Times, where I live in the US. Everywhere the film world was shaken. Ray's actor gone, and so I was thinking of the repercussions that will happen if he didn't find the sorbitrate in the kitchen. And later, I thought of a very, some would say, a cruel experiment, but where I said that Kaku, where I thought that I will shoot his death, in the sense that he will act his death if he didn't find the sorbitrate in the kitchen. And but then I had even strange, morbid experiment which I had in mind. That is, I will make a film where I will also shoot his death when he actually dies. So he will act his death on screen or in camera, in front of camera. And then later, when he actually is dead, he has to give me permission to shoot him in the hospital when he dies. And when I proposed this to some people in amongst my relatives and my close friends, people were aghast, and some actually told me that, Suman, I couldn't think that you have such, it's just utilizing, you're exploiting his death, such an iconic figure. But I knew that it was an experiment in acting. Then we have talked about Stanislavski actor prepares and things like that. So then one day I went to Soumitra Kaku and said that with much trepidation that Soumitra Kaku, I want to propose our next film. That is, and it will be named Actor Prepares, and this is how I want to make the film. I know this, what I'm going to say, it might spoil our relationship. You might think otherwise about me. He said, why are you saying like that? Have we, nothing has come in between us ever. So after I told him, he paused a little bit and said that, what a brilliant idea. I'm game. So he was ready for it. And then I was shooting my Hindi film, which I was shooting. I said that I'll do it after, that. And then COVID struck and he's no more. So neither could I shoot his first sequence where he will act out his not getting the sorbitate in the kitchen and later his actual death. So that is a very poignant, to think about it also, it makes me sad now. So
that's why I think it's a very rare book, very, very different kind of a book. It's not a biography. It's not an analytical work. That anyway, there's enough chronicled about
Balaji, in the beginning, you said that why I wrote the book. One is a personal reason. Another is that I have not seen, or maybe I'm missing. See, there has been books written about famous actors by journalists and, but I have mixed so closely working with him. So a lot of the things will be missed if a journalist writes it rather than me as his son writing the book. And I can proudly say, because he used to say that Shumon amar cheler moto, so this is a book which I wanted to, keep for posterity also, for an experience of a book where such intimate details of an icon is written from a son or an director who has worked with him so many years. Yeah.
Excellent. Maybe the audience would have a few questions to ask Shumon. Yes, madam. We have the mic there.
Balaji, thank you for introducing us to Suman Ghosh. And Suman, you talk about him very lovingly as a Renaissance man. And I think you yourself are a Renaissance man. This prolific, brilliant filmmaker, and then you teach economics. I'm just trying to reconcile that in my head. And I always think beauty doesn't exist if there's not a subjective viewer. And you've so lovingly penned them out. So filmography is not one of my favorite reading topics, but I'm going to buy a book and get it signed from you. I wanted to appreciate this before I ask the question. And the question is a simple one. When is your next film?
I just finished a film now it's a Hindi film in Kolkata. And the next film which I'm planning to shoot is a period piece, which I'm going to shoot in October this year, later this year, period piece in Bengali. But I can't reveal the details now because of contractual issues and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, sir. This gentleman. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Suman Ghosh. So I'm a Bengali, and so I grew up and I love Feluda and Satyajit Ray, and of course Soumitra Chatterjee. He's my idol all over. So as you are so attached with Mr. Chatterjee, I want to ask you that while being attached with him, what is the greatest role you think that he was very proud of? Is it Feluda or Opu or maybe Koni's? I think the Koni
coach.
Yeah, coach. Yes.
Very good question.
Yes.
See, we in the sense in one Adda, he was asked about what are your top 5 roles, and he hated ranking roles. So he never answered that. One of my very close friend who is also a very famous filmmaker, Srijit Mukherjee, was asking in our Adda that, you have to tell what are your top 5. He said that I don't like these top 5 rankings and all. Each role is, of course, some roles get iconic status like Moyur Bahan, Opu, or Khidda in Koni, or many other roles. But he never believed answering such questions. So I cannot say what would be his role. But in my book, that is my view, I give 10 roles of Soumitra Chatterjee, which are non-Ray films. That is the last chapter of my book. And that is only my view. I don't know whether he would have agreed or not. He didn't read the book, of course. He passed away before that. So, yeah.
Hello, Subbu sir. My
Yeah.
name is Abhishek, and I'm actually a very big movie fan. And all possible in Indian language, but I see that the way South Indian movies are doing, they are producing multilingual films now. We are moving towards a multilingual era, and they have dubbed their old movies as well in Hindi now. Why Kolkata film industry is not doing that? Why Bengali film industry is not doing that?
Not doing what? I couldn't.
Making multilingual films or dubbing their Bengali movies into the Hindi.
Yeah.
Because
So,
there is a lot of good movies over there which should be
see,
presented
I
to
think
our
first of
larger
all,
audience.
the economic situation of South Indian films and Bengali films is vastly different. You know, the budgets of a film like Pushpa or something like that, we cannot think of that in Bengal. And there you can go into the reasons why it has not developed or so like that. But few of the Bengali successful films have been made into Hindi films, though it has not got the success. Like, for example, there's a wonderful film called Bhuter Bhovishyat, Bengali film, which was made into a Hindi. It was disaster. It was very, very Bengali nuanced, screenplay by Onik Dotto. So some of the films have been made, but it didn't work. And hopefully in Bengal, we are trying, in say this year or a couple of years down the line, you will see such films coming out. In fact, the period piece, which I'm thinking, it is with that inception that nowadays with OTT platforms and all, the market has, neutralized a lot. So you can do that if you really make a very good film. So making the film, which has the potential to capture pan-India audience, that's most important. Yeah.
See, even the Calcutta market is split between Hindi, English, and Bangla, right? Whereas if you go down south, Chennai is maybe one of the cities. There are 5 other equally big cities and dense markets like Chennai. Plus, there is a diaspora audience in Singapore, Malaysia, and all those places. So the market is very, very different, right? And if you look at a lot of Hindi films, actually derive the source to Bangla cinema, like your Shat Pake Badha became Kora Kagas, Akash Kushum became Manzil, right? So a lot of films in Hindi derive their origin to Bangla cinema.
Hello. Yeah, I am Surajit.
Sorry, I can't see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I see you.
अच्छा, मेरा एक बात है, जो बंगाली फिल्म पहले बनता था, ओपुस संसार, पथेर पाचाली, तितास एक नदीर नाम, इस तरह फिल्म अभी क्यों नहीं बन पा रहा है?
I'm thinking from where to start. First of all, the films that you mentioned, इस तरह का फिल्म सारे इंडिया में भी नहीं हो रहा है, वर्ल्ड में भी नहीं हो रहा है. पथेर पाचाली, I don't think can be remade again, or Tita Shakti Nodin Nam. So wonderful examples he given. There might be many socio-economical reasons for that, but I think people like Satyajit Ray and Hrithik Ghatak are born once in a century. So we are waiting for the next breakthrough to happen in Bengali films or in Indian cinema also. So hopefully it will be done in sooner or later. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? This book has, finally, as I wrap it up, sorry, is there a question? Can we take one more question, or are we out of time? One more question. Yeah. Yes, sir. Someone had a question there? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, sir. So my question was that you spoke about the Bengali films being quite central towards the theme of the story. And now there's always a question between commercial and art and the balance that a creator has to strike out between them so that he films his own satisfaction, his artistic satisfaction, and also the balance that the money that's being, because at the end of the day, the film is a money business. So the commercial standpoint also. So how do you strike the balance as a creator between the commercial and the creative side of those things?
So if you ask me personally, I do 2 kinds of films. One is star-studded, at least in Bengali, star-studded films, and where and big budget films, which I ensure that the box office is enough to do those films. But parallelly, I do very small films also. Small in the sense of idea-wise, it's equally important to me, but budget-wise, it's small. I am typically the co-producer because I should bear the brunt of making, indulging in those experiments. So there are films which he mentioned also, P7 and Shyamal Uncle Turns of the Lights and those kind of films, which luckily I have been fortunate enough that those have been very successful in film festivals and picked up by either Amazon or Netflix. So I demarcate that clearly, where some of my films, not that I'm less or more interested in one kind of films, but if it is a big commercial film, I ensured that I have the names there and, the box office pool is there, and then I can tell the story. But the other kind of films, I don't need any, stars. Actually, they are mainly made with non-actors. So, so that I can indulge in those experiments. I've been lucky so far. So just wish me I'm lucky in future also.
I'll leave you with the final thought. There are 2 chapters in this book which talk about an evening spent with Suman Ghosh and Soumitra Chatterjee talking to each other. Only a filmmaker could have written that chapter, because it's just like watching 2 people in an adda session all evening with many glasses of Blue Label whiskey, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic book. Please do buy it. And I'm sure you'll be happy to sign a few copies.
Sure. In the author signing section there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Suman Ghosh in conversation with Balaji Vittal for a rather enthralling conversation. Thank you so much. Maybe please request you to accept a small token of our love and appreciation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being such a patient audience. We will begin our next session shortly at 2 p.m. So if you want to catch a little break, please do so, but we'll be back here in the next 5 to 7 minutes to begin the session. Mr. Ghosh is available right there at that cute little yellow tent behind the front lawn. If you have copies of the book you want to get signed, he'll be more than happy to do that.
Hello everyone, my name is Mariam Kakar. Yes, since 2019 I joined the library as a member, then I became a student council. And now I'm an intern in the Kirki. The name of my book is Hilya's Dreams, which is about the small girl who how her mind changed in the pandemic. And I'm going to read a few lines. When it rains, the sky becomes clear. The clouds become white and the earth becomes humid. How pleased is this moment? And what does being artist means to me? It's a very complicated question, but I just wanted to tell you that the heart speaks where words are unable to express. And like me, I'm always trying to show my culture through my heart. And as a writer, whenever I feel bad, whenever I feel happy, I write it down. It makes me happy. And as my view, to express my worth. And that's it. Thank you so much, everyone.
हेलो, मेरा नाम सुमित है और मैं एज अ आर्टिस्ट हूँ, तो उसमें मेरा नाम सन्यासी है और मैं TCLP लाइब्रेरी का स्टूडेंट लीडर भी हूँ और एज अ मेंबर भी हूँ। और मैं लाइब्रेरी में लगभग 7 इयर्स मतलब 7 साल हो गए मुझे लाइब्रेरी में मेंबरशिप लिए हुए। ये जो हमारा सॉन्ग है ना, इसका नाम शुरुआत है और ये हमने अपने ऊपर ही लिखा है। हम चाहते थे कि मतलब हम इंट्रो दे दें, हम सबसे पहला गाना है तो हमारे, इसलिए हम चाहते थे कि हम अपने बारे में ही कुछ लिखें। तो जो मेरे साथ रैप करता है उसका नाम सस्पेंस है और उसका रियल नेम साहिल है और मेरा नाम तो सन्यासी है और मेरा रियल नेम है सुमित तो हम चाहते थे कि मतलब हम शुरुआत करें तो हम गाने का नाम ही शुरुआत रखते, तो हम इसलिए हमने मतलब इसलिए शुरुआत रखा, हम दोनों ने डिसाइड करा। तो और ये गाने की कुछ लाइनें मैं आपको सुनाता हूँ, मतलब रैप की कुछ लाइनें सुनाता हूँ आपको, और आप सुनिए। बोलता छोटा मुंह करता बड़ी बात, बचपन से ही मेरी आदत है खराब। मतलब मैं पहले से ही ना, जब छोटा था तो मैं बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बातें बोलता था, तो मेरे को मतलब लोग बोलते थे कितना बोलता है, कितनी बड़ी बड़ी बातें करता है, तो इसीलिए बोलता छोटा मुंह करता बड़ी बात, बचपन से ही मेरी आदत खराब। मतलब बचपन से ही मेरी आदत खराब थी, और आंखों पे पट्टी बांध सब पे करता विश्वास, अपने से प्राय लगते मुझे खास। आंखों पे पट्टी बांध के सब पे करता विश्वास, मतलब ये था कि मैं मतलब किसी पे भी विश्वास कर लेता हूँ, मतलब बहुत जल्दी, मतलब किसी पे भी विश्वास कर लेता हूँ मैं। मतलब मेरे को किसी को डाउट नहीं रहता कि हाँ मतलब ये कैसा है कैसे नहीं है, बट मैं विश्वास कर लेता हूँ सब पे। और आंखों पे पट्टी बांध सब पे करता विश्वास, अपने से पराये लगते मुझे खास। अपने से ज्यादा पराये इसलिए मुझे अच्छे लगते हैं क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अपने लोगों को ना अगर आप कुछ कर रहे हैं तो आपको देख के थोड़ा जेलस फील करते हैं, जलते हैं, तो इसलिए मेरे को पराये अच्छे लगते हैं अपने से ज़्यादा। क्योंकि अपने लोगों को ना तरक्की पसंद नहीं होती, मतलब लोगों की तरक्की से थोड़ी चिढ़ होती है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। कि पता नहीं औरों को क्या लगता है, बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है, तो इसलिए अपने से पराये लगते हैं मुझे खास। आर्टिस्ट का मेरे लिए ये मतलब है कि मैं उन्हीं की बात उन्हीं तक पहुंचा सकूं जो वही लोग नज़रअंदाज करते हैं। तो आर्टिस्ट का मेरे लिए ये मतलब है कि मैं जितना हो सके उतना रियल ही बताऊं, ताकि लोग उसको देख सके और उसको रियलाइज कर सके। इसलिए मेरे लिए आर्टिस्ट का यही मतलब है कि जितना हो सके कि लोग रियली देखें, तो मेरे लिए ये मतलब है। और मैं रैप के थ्रू उनको बता सकूं कि ये रियल है, मेरे लिए यही मतलब है आर्टिस्ट का।
परिपालयशो मां स्वामिनाथ परिपालयशो मां स्वामिनाथ परिपालयशो मां स्वप्रकाश वल्लेश गुरुगुहा स्वप्रकाश वल्लेश गुरुगुहा देव सनेश स्वप्रकाश वल्लेश गुरुगुहदेव सनेश स्वामिनाथ परिपालयशो मां स्वामीनाथ परिपाल यशो शंकर डमरू बाजे कानन कुंडल सिर शशि मंडल 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 घर घर अलख जगाए शंकर डमरू बाजे शंकर डमरू बाजे डमरू बाजे डमरू बाजे
Because I believe art matters.
And donate now.
डोनेट कीजिए।
I believe art matters.
Donate now to
Art matters, I believe.
So donate to Art Matters now.
आई बिलीव आर्ट मैटर से आप भी जुड़ें और डोनेट करें।
Please donate to Art Matters now.
I believe art matters. Donate.